have all got so much out of this and would like to put a big thank you out to the mentors who have given up their own time to help us grow. Before we play our presentation, I would like to introduce my team: Lydia from Marriott Oliver Solicitors, Megan from the NAB, Nadine from Shoalhaven Water, Ryan from Shoalhaven City Council, and myself, Stephanie Blair from NowChem. So on to our presentation. We have been given the honour to try and raise funds for a really worthy cause, the Shoalhaven Education Fund, or the SEF. Raj from Silos, has kindly donated 3 bottles of wine worth $200 to the highest donor today, and some of these wines are no longer for sale. So these are the 3 bottles. We've got a 2010 Duck's Nut Shiraz and a 2014 Son of Duck's Nuts and a 2015 Duck's Nuts Shiraz, which, yes, he has kindly donated. We've had some people donate already, so thank you for that. And the highest donor right now is John Lamont on $509. And from what I've been told, that $9 is very important, so apparently needs a mention. So now my question is, who wants to do John out of these wines and get their hands on these lovely wines from Silos Estate? Please put in the chat box how much you can commit to, and the winner will be announced at the end of today. So without further ado, here is our presentation. Thank you.
Can you afford to buy a cup of coffee? Can you afford to buy a book? Can you afford to catch the train? Did you finish high school? Did you continue your studies and go to TAFE or university? Did you have financial support along the way? You probably did. To have accomplished what you have done so far, you would have had access to transportation, textbooks, financial support, and ultimately anything you need to be able to get an education. However, what if you didn't have all the support and access to different career paths? Where would you be today? This lack of opportunity is the reality for many young students within the Shoalhaven. This map shows the socio-economic status of the Shoalhaven region. Nara itself falls into the lowest decile in terms of areas of socio-economic disadvantage and the second lowest.
Okay, sorry about that.
Start it again. Can you start it from the beginning?
Yep. Okay, just let me.
Can everybody?
So you need to stop sharing first and then share your screen.
Yeah, we all can see the wine.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Can you all see it now?
Yes, we can, Dal.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Can you afford to buy a cup of coffee? Can you afford to buy a book? Can you afford to catch the train? Did you finish high school? Did you continue your studies and go to TAFE or university? Did you have financial support along the way? You probably did. To have accomplished what you have done so far, you would have had access to transportation, textbooks, financial support, and ultimately anything you need to be able to get an education. However, what if you didn't have all the support and access to different career paths? Where would you be today? This lack of opportunity is the reality for many young students within the Shoalhaven. This map shows the socio-economic status of the Shoalhaven region. Nara itself falls into the lowest decile in terms of areas of socio-economic disadvantage and the second lowest in terms of economic resources, education and occupation. While this map shows that only 16% of higher education students come from a low socio-economic background. These statistics show that, unfortunately, our students are not being given the same opportunities as other students in far more privileged areas simply because of where they live. This is why the Shoalhaven Education Fund, also known as the SEF, is so important. The SEF provides financial assistance to local youth to gift them with opportunities to achieve their post-high school education aspirations. The SEF has helped provide students with career paths to become ballet dancers, filmmakers, musical theatre performers, teachers, carpenters, mechanics, vets, accountants, and much, much more. The SEF makes this possible. Here is Michaela, who tells us about how the SEF allowed her to achieve her higher education goal.
Hi, Michaela Barnes here. I just wanted to talk about the SEF funding that I received this year that I'm ever so grateful for. So I am a Shoalhaven girl, born and raised down in Jervis Bay, and I went to Narra High School and now I'm at UOW. So I graduated Narra High School in 2017 and started at UOW in 2018. So I'm in my third year of a commerce degree, majoring in HR and PR. So recently, obviously because of COVID-19, I've had to relocate from Wollongong. And before that, I was going through some finance difficulties. I think like every uni student, and particularly my mum being a single parent, we were often struggling all the way through university to sort of keep me afloat, and I was working 3 jobs. So the SEF funding, I'm so glad I applied for it, and it was such an easy process, and particularly when I was getting interviewed, I got quite emotional, but the judges were absolutely so kind to me and everybody that they came in contact with. So yeah, certainly was not intimidated or intimidating during the process. But I'm just so grateful that I have that funding, because before then I was looking at, possibly, putting off uni, and particularly when COVID-19 happened, like many other students, I was put in a position almost where I had to choose between studying or working. So without the funding that I received and the extra funding that I got due to COVID-19 through Skilf, thanks John, and SEF, it's been incredible, and I was quite worried that I wasn't going to be able to finish the degree. So I'm still here and I'm still going, and I'm just going to keep on working, and I'm going to keep on studying, and hopefully get into the corporate world, along with a couple of other projects that I have going on. So without the funding and without the support and the kind hearts of SEF and the likes of Skilf, I really don't know what I would have done. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
With this in mind, the SEF fundraises throughout the year and accepts donations from local residents and businesses. The SEF relies on the Shoalhaven community to be able to provide financial grants to those who need some extra financial support. $500 will buy textbooks for a year, or a laptop, or train fares for 2 semesters, or the equipment needed for TAFE, or the accommodation payments for a year's compulsory placements for nursing students. Here is how you can donate to the SEF. Go to www.cef.org.au/donations and tick donate to a local foundation and choose the Shoalhaven from the drop-down list. A donation to the SEF will change lives, families, and the future of the Shoalhaven community.
That was excellent. Great teamwork. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
The video was amazing. Well done, Steph, and well done to the team. If anybody does want to donate, would you mind putting your donation in the chat box as well, so that Stephanie's team can watch out for where those 3 bottles of amazing Silos wine will land. I'd like to introduce our second pitch team, which is Rachel Malin from Carter Ferguson Solicitors, Alex King from Medicine in Motion, exercise physiologists, and Matthew Crowe from Shoalhaven City Council. Over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel from Carter Ferguson, and along with Alex from Medicine in Motion and Matt from the local council, we just want to say a massive thank you to the SPBA for having us this morning, a massive thank you to our mentors and Rhonda for organising everything. It's been an amazing opportunity to work for the SPBA and raise money for the SEF. So on to our presentation. Matt's got, can everybody see the PowerPoint presentation up there? Yes.
Yep.
All good. So on to the next slide. So what if the cure for cancer is trapped inside of the mind of somebody who can't afford an education? The Shoalhaven Education Fund is a branch of the Country Education Foundation of Australia and works to foster the further education, career and personal development opportunities of our local youth through community-based encouragement and financial support. For rural and remote students, the SEF helps break down the barriers they may face in accessing quality education and opportunities to further their career. Whether this may be providing financial support to the students who need it most, or simply providing guidance and encouragement for SEF has helped students across the Shoalhaven achieve their goals and is playing a part in shaping the youth of tomorrow. We thought that there is no better way to hear about how the SEF can change someone's life than from a former student herself. I'd like to introduce Sammy Spark, who may be familiar to some people in the SPBA. Sammy is a final year veterinary student from Charles Sturt University in Wagga, and the SEF has helped her from finishing high school to throughout her uni. So here's Sammy.
We can't hear it.
Sorry guys, Matt, I think the sound didn't quite work there. Do you want to turn your volume up completely and unmute yourself and try that?
Just a year out from school.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, take it back though.
University. I have been with Steph ever since I first started university. I finished high school and now have 6.5 years. So they have been my interesting.
Matt, you might have to play it with your phone like you did yesterday.
Oh, this is how I played it yesterday, Rhonda.
Oh, okay, cool. We can't hear it, Matt.
At all?
No. Do you want to just keep going, Rachel, with talking and then throw to the next person?
Sure, I'll pass it over to Alex.
Yeah, we might drop that video of Sammy into a link in the chat box. Might be a good idea. But we know that the SEF is a not-for-profit organisation run by a team of dedicated volunteers who also have full-time work commitments. So that leaves little time and financial resources to work on things like their social media, marketing, and their website. And we know that now more than ever, online presence is of the utmost importance. It's absolutely vital that all businesses and organisations are able to showcase what they do and that consumers are able to find information easily. For the SEF, they need to have the ability to inform the greater community about their work, to promote the opportunities to local students, and to have a system of driving people to their easy-to-use donation platform in order to enable students to access scholarships and funding. With a lack of time and expertise on marketing and managing their online presence, the SEF is seeking assistance from our local marketing and web development professionals so that they can update their website and teach the volunteers how to manage that moving forward. And like any financial contribution from the wider SPBA community is going to help as well. Ultimately, they're seeking guidance to optimise their social media presence, to engage with the community, to promote the life-changing work that they do, and to encourage community donations to this great cause so that they can continue to help more and more students, just like Sammy, realise their dreams and achieve their full potential.
Shoalhaven Education Fund are looking for between $1,500 and $3,000 to develop a website to support these activities in our area. By going to the Shoalhaven section of the Country Education Fund website, which I'll put in the chat, and clicking donate, you can help the Shoalhaven Education Fund to be able to develop and manage a website that promotes the youth of the Shoalhaven who may one day be working for you. If you have the skills to develop and maintain a website or host a domain, your time is invaluable. Your support for this local charity may alleviate some of the operating burdens that fall on these volunteers. Finally, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to our pitch, and we implore you to donate, and please ensure you leave your company name and your comments section in the comments section of the donation screen on the SEF website. Just like the last team, we also have a bottle of wine to the highest pitch, the highest person donating to the SEF. So please put website next to it, and might be worth it. Cheers.
That's excellent. If everybody could unmute for a minute and just give our two teams such a big clap. So thank you. That was terrific, both teams. Not just the money, but the website is increasingly important to communicate and for kids as well. As Holly has just said, it's a great job. I'd now like to introduce Sophie Ray from the Shoalhaven Education Fund to thank our two teams. Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks, Rhonda. I don't think I can put my video on. It says you've disabled it, but that's completely fine at this time of the morning. I just wanted to say on behalf of the whole SEF team an enormous thank you to everybody who's been involved in this. As always, we're hugely grateful for the ongoing support from the SPBA community, and particularly this year there's been a huge amount of work done by both the teams who presented today. I know it's not been easy doing it all in these strange remote conditions, and I think what you've both come up with is fantastic, and I might be in touch with you afterwards to see if we can borrow some of your presentations and put them up on our existing very minimal social media. So we're hugely grateful. Donations are looking particularly difficult this year. For next year, our applications for next year's grant will open in July. So we're really having to think quite laterally about how we're going to raise the money this year for next year's students. So very grateful for everything that SPB and the two teams have done.
Thanks, Sophie. Sophie, we didn't really get to hear Sammy, but I know Sammy is a particularly important story for SPBA because I think we've supported Sammy from day one, haven't we, at uni?
Yeah, so that's right. Yeah, so Sammy is a local girl, obviously, went to, I think, either Nowra High or Shoalhaven High, I can't remember. And her father was a veteran and suffered some severe disabilities as a result of his service, and actually died a couple of years ago. And she and her sister and her mother have managed to put both the girls through university. So Sammy's been doing vet studies. She started off doing her Cert 3, I think, in animal studies, and then moved into vet studies at Charles Sturt University in Wagga. And she's just finished up. So we have supported her right through from her first year of university right through till now, with a whole range of things. Initially, it was things like her textbooks and her lab coats. And then as her degree went on, she had to do increasing numbers of placements all around New South Wales, Victoria. She did some up in the Northern Territory. So we were able to help with her costs of accommodation for those placements, with her car costs so she could travel. She's just amazing. She's topped her year. She's volunteered at uni to help other students. She's now got her dream job working on a massive dairy farm down in Gippsland, which was her sort of dream. Dairy cattle is her thing. She also won the Nowra Showgirl. She was the Nowra Showgirl, I think, 3 years ago, and went to the finals, all the way to the finals in Sydney at the Royal Easter Show. And Sammy tells us that once she's finished her once she's done a few years down in the Gippsland, learning everything that they're doing with new technology and so on down there, she's planning to come back to this area and start up a dairy cattle vet practice back up here in the Shoalhaven. So she's a really great example of the sorts of people that we're able to help, thanks to donations from our community.
That's great. And Sophie, Sue Schofield tells me in interviewing this year, it was quite confronting, even especially further down south, with the impact of the fires for some of these young people.
Yeah, that's right. So we do our interviews in January, and we normally do 2 days worth of interviews up here at Shoalhaven campus of UOW, and a day down at the Dunreed Theatre down at Ulladulla, because our students come from Ulladulla High and down as well. This year, obviously, we had to reorganise all the interviews because both those areas were unavailable at the time because the bushfires were actually still burning. And the Bomaderry Bowling Club very kindly gave us rooms to do our interviews, and so we had students from down south who came up or dialed in for the interviews. The immediate impact on the students down there initially was that their casual work had disappeared. So a lot of our students work really hard all summer to save up money for their studies to help them through the year, and all of that work had disappeared and they had nothing. So they were going into uni or TAFE or their early employment with no savings behind it. We also had a couple of students who'd actually been directly impacted by the bushfire, either their house been burnt down. We had one student who'd gone to her casual job at Subway and while she was at her job, her family was cut off at Lake Conjola and she was unable to get home. And so she decided, because she did have some savings from her summer work, that she would use savings to take a motel room rather than take a plane in the evacuations where she felt there were people who were well off than her and couldn't afford anything else. She used her savings to do that. We had another of our applicants who was, I think, at Lily Point or similar, and his parents lived in the next round and they were cut off. And so he boat from a mate and they motored around, rescued his grandparents and brought them back. So there were a number of stories like, mostly from kids who were doing it pretty tough anyway, and seeing the additional layer of difficulty just made it even more hardening than it normally is.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'll just an update on the wine. I think Dave from Climax is in front now. He's just having a look. 550, I think. Let me have a look. And Stormtech, $500. Truan Family, $50. Cardia HR, 250, so some fantastic donations. Couple of $50 ones as well, so that's great. Holly, before I give to Anna, I wonder if you could just, from the school's point of view, the impact SEF has.
Yeah, so look, we couldn't really allow lots of our students to fulfill their dreams without the support of the SEF. I mean, we have a number of students who apply each year, and they're all really high quality candidates and kids who just need a little bit of extra support to get their dreams going. And what comes from the SEF, I think it's more than just the money, it's the relationships that's built with all of the students who receive support, but also the team that interviews them. I think, and as a community, I think we should be really proud of the support that locally we can come together and provide to our youth as well. They are obviously the future, and hopefully a lot of these kids will return to the Shoalhaven and make it the great place that it is.
Excellent. Thank you, Holly. Just another update, $200 from Spirited Life Counselling. Thank you, Kim. Awesome job to both teams from Carter Ferguson, $500. Thank you. MI Engineers, Graham, $500. Thank you. And Armitage Security, $250. Alex from Medicine in Motion, $250. So some fantastic donations. That one will have to be shared around, I think. Tanya, would you mind just from the UOW point of view, talking a bit about SEF?
Yeah, I was just typing something, but happy to say something.
Right.
Similar to Holly, you know, nursing students come to mind. They have to go on placements for, you know, up to 5 weeks, and sometimes those placements have been in Sydney, in Broken Hill. They have to leave family, you know, and they have to pay for accommodation and to get there themselves. So without the assistance of the SEF, you know, they would have found it really, really difficult. And similarly to what Sammy said in her video, you know, the ability to not have to worry about working so that they can spend that time studying has assisted greatly. It helps them, you know, with textbooks, with computers, as well as not having that worry about having to go to work. So, you know, UOW as well as the students are very grateful to the generosity of SEF. Yeah.
Thank you. A couple of other donations. Married Oliver, $200. Thank you. Oh, Anna, do you want to close up for the morning?
Yes, sorry, I was typing away trying to encourage everyone. I've just done some rough totaling up, and we're about $200 off 4,000 donations, $4,000 worth of donations.
Wow! How good is that? Online.
Yeah, so that is absolutely amazing, absolutely fantastic. I have to say, I wrote it in the chat box, but I had listening to those videos and stories, and I've had tears in my eyes. So I think it's just such an amazing, amazing cause. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you for so many people joining us today and listening to the guys. It is very nerve-wracking, and one of the wonderful things about the SPVA mentor program is that it does just that. It puts us outside of our comfort zone. So there's lots of different benefits from this morning's meeting. So thank you so much, everyone. I don't want to finish, but I know that everyone's got to get to work. So I encourage you to join us again in a couple of weeks for a totally different topic. On the 25th of June, Tanya Goodman, who's one of our long-standing committee members and also the regional career consultant for UOW Shoalhaven, will be interviewing Paul DePietro. Paul is the director for the Facility for Intelligent Fabrication at, again, the University of Wollongong. Now, Paul and others have managed to obtain a huge $2 million grant from the federal government to start an innovation industry hub here in the Shoalhaven, at Shoalhaven campus. So Tanya is going to be interviewing him to find out where that's up to, how has COVID hit, When will they be opening and what should we expect from that? So please again join us on the 25th of June. It would be great to see you and find out what's going on with Hub 4.0. And again, a huge thank you to everyone for joining us this morning. A massive congratulations to the mentorees. You did an absolutely fabulous job. And I think that we've just, smashed the $4,000 mark. So